everybody, this is Coach MJY here at the National Sports Institute of Malaysia. We're on the track with a very special guest today who's going to be helping us with a series on sprinting mechanical issues. This is Emmanuel Dawlson from Sweden, looking ahead to 2024 Olympics. And he's been in Malaysia for the last couple of weeks having a little break from the Swedish weather.
Right.
Just so happened to show up at our door and come over and say he's interested to talk. And here we are at the track. We've got the perfect guy to help us walk through these technical issues that are specific to sprinting, but they're actually specific to running at any distance, whether you're an endurance runner, whether you're a team sport athlete or a sprinter. And there's 5 major issues we're going to be talking about today. There are many other issues in this field. I know coaches don't get excited, but generally they're a version of this, and that is somewhere in the shoulders and postural breakdown or drop in the shoulder, somewhere with rotations and breakdown in the hip and lower back. And then the other one is being hip lift. Almost always there's a version of that in mechanics that needs to be addressed. And the last 2 we're going to be looking at is understriding and overstriding issues. Today's testing out the Exogen top, the shorts and calf sleeve, which is what we call our speed combo or sprint combo. But again, for everybody to know is you don't have to start with everything. The number 1 pieces you want to start with, definitely the legs feed the wolf. So get those calf sleeves into your program. Next choice would be shorts, and the top finishes off for the whole elite package. So, are you ready to get started with some loading? Yes, sir. All right, man.
3, 2, 1, can't complain.
Yeah. Hey. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I do not miss.
Okay, so the first loading pattern we're going to focus on today is for upper shoulder, trap, neck, the whole shoulder complex, posture, control. What happens, as you know, in sprinting, any sport, when you get tired, the very first thing you see for a tired body is what? Yeah, exactly, even working at the computer. Now that happens over 60 meters or 100 meters as well. As soon as you start getting tired, this compresses. It also happens in training, when you get tired in training and you're trying to get more quality training time. So what we can do is directly target that, and we target it while you're on the track, which is when it counts. And it's a very simple pattern. What we do is, because he's a little heavier, we're going to be using about 800 grams, which is about 2 pounds. We're going to be loading it on the shoulder, directly on the shoulder. And if you take a look, these arrows, the points are pointing down. Because what that load is doing now, pointing down, is it's starting to compress his body down, put him in that sitting position. Coaches, you know, sitting is the bane of any kind of sprinter. And it's also pulling the shoulders forward. So this is what we call a resistive pattern that is forcing core rotation, which means when our posture, when he runs, he's got to concentrate on keeping that back and use the specific muscles involved in setting proper posture control. So now, how does that feel? Now, I could already see your shoulders are starting to do that. So right, we're going to get you to go down and just do a run, and then we'll get your feedback when you come back. Tired now too. All right, so that was set 1, running with what we call an resistive load, or that is really pulling you down to the front. How did it feel?
I mean, I could feel it already by 15 meters.
Yeah.
Like it was pulling you down.
Yeah, yeah.
It's constant, so you have to be conscious of where your body position is.
So what did you have to do when you felt that weight? What were you thinking about?
Bring it back, because
Yeah.
I know I don't want to be there.
Right, right.
So,
And so you could feel those muscles that are posture muscles working?
definitely.
Because this is your issue. Do you think that has value?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, just quickly, because you're puffing, it's heavier than most people realize too, right?
I mean, when you have it on,
Yeah,
you don't really, it's not overwhelming,
yeah,
but once you start running, you
Yeah.
feel like, oh, okay, I got to work too.
And was it also pushing you down? Can you feel it, like your hips, everything had to push up? That tall position?
Yeah.
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 All right, cool.
It makes you more conscious of the position.
Of
where
the
you have to
movement.
be, right.
So you think what he said, it makes me more conscious. That's first thing in any problem solving, is getting that good awareness and training that over time. Those muscles that are needed to pull that back, they're just going to naturally work. Think of a 4-week training block on that and what the style will look like after. All right, let's put you on the back on the assistive side. All right, so we did a resisted load. That is, the load was pushing his shoulders down. Now, some of those athletes, they're actually not ready for that yet. The resistive load is too much. and they don't have the ability to create good awareness or good movement. So when you have an athlete who you want to cue them first to the proper technique of posture, then we do the opposite. Instead of putting those loads down and following those arrows forward, what do you think we do? Turn them around, and now we're going to use the actual load across the shoulder to help pull the shoulder back. Okay, and now you're going to feel that. Now what's important is you notice I'm dropping the load actually to the rear. I don't want it to be too high. I want it to be a little bit to the rear in the shoulder complex or the scapula complex, so that he really feels. Now turn around. Now I can already see your shoulder, everything just went like that. You can feel that? Yeah. So now this is what we call an assistive load. So this is an assistive postural load. You'd use 1 or 2 loads, just enough to cue them to the right motion, so they feel like, okay, this is the position I need to be in. Because coach, normally you'd take your hands and you would say, look, I want you to get your shoulders back. How many times do you do that, right? You pull those shoulders back. And then your hands remove and he runs and he forgets it. Just think about this, your hands are now there. And you can feel that. Yeah? Yeah. And so what we're going to do now is just take a look at his feeling, his impression with that assistive load, because you also have a posture issue. This is your issue right now, right? Yeah. All right, let's give this one a run. Okay.
This is easy.
What does that say that again?
It's easy, it's pretty easy.
Easy. What a difference. Now here's the cool thing. It's the exact same amount of weight you literally did 2 minutes ago,
right,
on more or less the same place of the body, but with a subtle difference that is massive. The loading pulling you down and collapsing you, the loading pulling you back and up and supporting you.
Right.
And the first word out of your mouth was, oh, that's easier.
Yeah.
So what was easy?
Position.
Yeah.
You know, because coach always say, you know, it's all about position.
Yeah.
So experience in this is, oh, okay, so this is what you mean when you say position. This
Yeah.
is where I want to be.
Yeah.
To run.
Right, when coaches says, I need you in this position, and you're thinking, okay, but I don't know what that feels like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you'll be thinking like, this is how, you know, this is normal for me. But this is where you don't want to be when you're sprinting.
Here.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where you want to be. And this, you know, it's, as I said, it's easy. Just,
Yeah.
You know, it falls back into place already.
And again, this is what I was saying earlier, coaches. If you haven't tried it, you're going to be sitting there conceptualizing this. You have to try it. You haven't trained with load on the body like this before, I know, because I created this stuff and you didn't buy it from us yet. Now, remember what I called it, an assistive load, and he came back and said, this is easy. And this is the first time he's ever felt that. This is the kind of experience we're trying to express today. I don't know if it's going to have value for you or not. You have to decide that. But we want you to get into a new conversation to understand position, cueing,
Right.
coaching, assistive and resistive loading, or what we call technical conditioning.
Right.
So if you were sprinting now where you're at, knowing one you have to work against and one is going to help you, which one do you think is more important for you as a sprinter to get started?
For me personally, I would think, you know, the one on the back, because that's where I want to be. I want to feel. In other words, actually, I would say both ways, because I want to feel what I'm doing wrong to be able to correct it.
Yeah.
So, and as I said, you know, coach will say, okay, you have the arch in your back, and I'll be like, it doesn't feel like I have the arch in my back.
I've got it too.
Right, if you see me. So I want to see, like, okay, this is how it feels, and then do it the right way. So I would say both ways.
Yeah, 100%. And that's a really good point. Remember, he's also, we brought him down here to do the shoot, but he's experiencing this for the very first time. Every one of these runs is first. And what he just said is really important, because that's exactly how we do it. If we showed up at the track, and coaches, you'll probably be asking, okay, which one do I use? Because awareness is the first thing they need to feel, you needed to know the right position. You went to bed yesterday, you watched movies, you've disconnected from training, now you're at the track, you've got to find that right position. So we use the assistive load in the first 1 or 2 runs. So now you think, okay, that's where I want to be.
Right.
Then we throw that into the resistive load and you're like, okay, I don't want to be there,
Right.
but you need to know what it felt like first.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so that contrasting between the two works really, really well.